Accessories are crucial components of a man's wardrobe. They are not just practical, they also offer some of the best ways to add a bit of color and personality to your looks. Accessories can take an otherwise boring outfit and transform it into something unique and memorable. So today we're taking a look at some of the most essential accessories that every well-dressed gentleman should own. Starting with item number 1, belts. Belts are probably one of the most common accessories out there, because if you think about it, almost every man in the world has at least one belt at home. But even though it's so common, it doesn't mean that everybody is wearing the right type of belt. And if you're wearing it the right way, a belt can really enhance your outfit. But if you put on the wrong belt and the wrong size, it really detracts from your outfit. So one of the most common mistakes that I see is guys wearing a different belt than their shoes. And for example, you see guys wearing black leather shoes and then they wear brown belts. Or they wear brown shoes and they wear a black belt. In that case, it's usually better to just skip the belt, because what you want to do is that the leather of your shoes and the leather of your belt is somewhat matching. It doesn't have to be the exact same color, but it should be quite similar, because if it's a completely different color, then it just looks a little bit sloppy. And another thing that's quite common is that guys wear the wrong type of belt with the wrong type of trousers. So you see a lot of guys wearing a slim formal belt with jeans, or they wear a thick jeans belt with formal trousers. And that's not a very nice look. Another thing you want to keep in mind to look your most elegant is that the belt should be from a high quality leather and it should be minimal in design. So that means that the buckle should be quite minimal. You don't want to have a huge logo on there. It just should look polished and clean. And in terms of color, I would recommend to start with a belt that's somewhat similar in color to the shoes that you wear most frequently. And once you have your basic belt, then you can move on to more interesting options. One of them would be a braided belt. They are great for casual summer outfits, and because they have this nice texture, it really enhances your looks. Another option that you could go for would be a suede belt, because if you follow this channel, you know that I really like suede, simply because of the texture of suede and the matte color. It just makes every outfit look a little bit more subtle and elegant. And then another really interesting belt that's quite common in the menswear community on Instagram would be a slim western belt. And these ones are quite interesting for casual outfits or even smart casual outfits, because they do add a lot of visual interest to the outfit. The next item on the list is an absolute essential when you transition from university to the professional world, and that would be a leather briefcase, because in university you have to carry around a lot of books, and in the end the best option for that would be a backpack. But when you go to the office, most of the time you only have a couple of documents, you have your laptop and maybe a notepad, so you don't really need a backpack for this. And if you come to the office in a backpack, it's definitely going to look a little bit more childish. So the simple solution in this case would be to go for a high quality leather briefcase. This is one of those items that's going to make you look a lot more polished and mature. And if you take good care of this, it's going to last you a very long time, and you might even be able to hand it down to your children or to your grandchildren. And the bag that I have right here is from today's sponsor, which is Nordform from Denmark. They produce high quality handmade leather goods, like this briefcase that's made from vegetable tanned leather, and they have really high quality zippers and interior linings. And it's just an absolutely stunning briefcase that's going to look better and better over time. With a briefcase, you want to make sure that you go for high quality leather, and you want to stay away from polyester, because similar to the backpack, a briefcase made from polyester usually looks a little bit more immature. The next item on the list would be a pair of nice gloves. And this is something that's not just inherently practical, because it's going to keep your fingers nice and warm in wintertime, but it also looks really cool. Because if you wear a pair of high quality leather gloves, they look so much better than gloves made from polyester or from cotton. And similar to the belts, I would go for a color that's somewhat similar to your shoes that you wear most frequently, especially during wintertime. And I would start with a very basic design like these. If you want, you can also go for a nice interior lining, because again, it keeps you a little bit more warm, but there are many different options with patterns on top, or again you can go for a nice pair of suede gloves. The next item on the list are wallets, and this is another item that's quite important in the business environment, because if you go with a client or if you go with your colleagues or with your boss to a restaurant or a cafe and you pull out your wallet to pay for something, and you have a wallet that's made from polyester and maybe with some velcro as well, then it's not really looking very professional. If you've seen the movie Crazy Stupid Love, there's one scene where Steve Carell does exactly that. He takes out a wallet and it's from polyester and with velcro, and the character played by Ryan Gosling is not too happy about that. And with wallets you have a couple of options. You can either go for the modern and slim version, which is mostly for cards and some bills. This one again from Nordform. Or you can go for the traditional wallet, which is obviously going to be a little bigger, but you can also carry coins and a lot more bills. It kind of depends on your personal lifestyle and also the country you live in, because in Northern European countries they use mostly cards, but in countries like Germany, for example, we can't really pay with cards that often, so we have to carry a lot of cash. And in this case again, you want to go for high quality leather, but in terms of the color, I don't think it has to match exactly your shoes or anything. It can just be in a shade of brown or black that you like. The next item on the list are socks, and in my opinion socks are one of the most overlooked fashion items because most of the time they are more of an afterthought, but socks are one of the best ways to really add a little bit of color and personality to an otherwise boring outfit, because if you wear a dark business suit and you want to add a little bit of color to your outfit, then one of the easiest ways would be to add a nice pair of socks. And in my opinion, I don't think you should go crazy on the colors and everything, but if you go for something like this, these ones are from Peter. You can see that when they're in their normal state, they're just blue. You can see a little bit of red coming through, but when you pull them apart, so basically when you stretch them a bit, you can see this nice Bordeaux color in these vertical lines. And vertical lines just look absolutely beautiful, and they also flow with the entire direction of your outfit. I'm not the biggest fan of horizontal lines, but in the end, it's all up to you. And also if you invest in a high quality pair of socks, they're extremely comfortable. The ones by Peter are more on the affordable end, but if you want to step it up a notch in terms of quality, then you can also go for Mes Chaussettes Rouge, or you can go for Il Regalo. They have a lot of beautiful and interesting designs that really enhance your outfits. The next item on the list is another essential for winter time or for fall and for spring, and that's going to be scarves. And scarves are one of the best ways to add a little bit of color and personality again to your outfit during the colder months, because if you look around in most parts of Europe, for example, the majority of people are wearing either black, charcoal, or maybe navy. You don't really see a lot of color popping through. And one of the best ways to do this is by wearing a nice colorful scarf. And in my opinion, if you wear mostly darker colors in winter time, so let's say you wear navy, charcoal, or black, then a nice shade of green, maybe with a little bit of texture, would be one of the best options in this case. It's an interesting color that adds a little bit of spice to your outfit, but other colors you could go for would also be Bordeaux, for example. You could go for rust, or one of the most versatile options would be a light shade of gray. But if you wear mostly shades of brown during winter time, then I would suggest going for a cream or brown scarf as well. I personally really like this one right here from Spear & Mackay because it has this really interesting herringbone pattern, and it's also dual color, so it looks quite interesting. In terms of fabrics, you want to go for wool or for cashmere, and you want to stay away from polyester. Polyester is the cheapest option, but it's also quite uncomfortable and you're going to sweat a lot. And then for spring and fall, when it's a little bit warmer, you can also go for a nice silk scarf because they're going to be a lot lighter, and usually they have a lot of very interesting patterns and different color combinations as well. So they can really add some visual interest to your outfits. The next item on the list is a nice watch. And this is one of those items again that can make you look a lot more professional and mature. And especially in a world where a lot of people are thinking that why should they wear a watch when their phone can tell the time more accurately? If you wear a nice looking watch, you're really going to stand out from the crowd. Because the majority of guys are either wearing some kind of watch that's too large for their wrist, or they wear a smartwatch, or they wear no watch at all. And the reason why we like to wear watches is not because of the time, because like I said, the phone can tell the time better than your watch, but simply because of the way it makes you feel, and you appreciate the beauty and the mechanics of a nice watch, and because overall it just enhances your outfit and the watch adds more personality to your look as well. And there's so many different options that you could choose from in watches that this is definitely too much for today's video, but I did make a video on beautiful, affordable watches that cost less than $500. If you want to check it out, I will link it in the description below. And at the moment I only own one watch, and that's the Tissot PRX80. For me personally, I really liked the vintage shape of it, and also the fact that it's really good for casual and semi-casual outfits. The next item on the list are ties, and so far every accessory also has a practical value, but ties are only visually, so they have no practical value whatsoever. And you can see that I'm not an expert in tying a tie, but simply by wearing a tie, it really enhances your outfit. If I would wear this outfit right here without a tie, then it would just look a little bit plain and a little bit boring, because with ties you have so many different options in terms of the color and the texture, and that gives you a lot of opportunities to add interesting colors and to add your own personality and your own style. If you're new to wearing a tie, then you probably want to go for a navy grenadine tie, because the color and the fact that it has a little bit of texture makes it appropriate for many different occasions, especially if a lot of your sports jackets and suits are in navy. From there, of course, you can get very creative in terms of colors and in terms of patterns. I personally really like striped ties, but in the end, which style you like is completely up to you. And ties are one of those items that are also really good to buy secondhand, simply because they're very affordable when you buy them secondhand, and there's so many different options available. The next item on the list is another highly underrated item, and that's the pocket square. And this is something that in the menswear community is quite common, of course, but if you look outside and you see most guys who are wearing a suit, they maybe wear a tie, but most of the time no pocket square. And it's something that's not only extremely affordable, but also that really enhances your outfit. Because if I would wear this blazer right here without a pocket square, it would just look a little bit more boring. And a couple of years ago, I watched an interview with Guy Ritchie on the Joe Rogan show, and I think he said something along the lines that you can really really tell the difference between a man who's proud of wearing a suit and who really enjoys wearing a suit from someone who's kind of forced to wear a suit by the fact whether they are wearing a pocket square or not. Because like I said, most people, they might wear a tie. It might not be the prettiest tie, of course, but in many cases they're not wearing a pocket square. And the most essential one to get would be a white linen pocket square, because this works with almost any occasion and any type of suit or sport jacket. The next item on the list are sunglasses, and this is one of those items that can really enhance your coolness factor and makes you go from an average Joe to a badass. Because the one thing about sunglasses is that if you have the right type of sunglasses, you just look that much cooler, and on top of that, they're also very practical again because they protect your eyes from UV light. Just make sure to stay away from fake sunglasses because they can be very damaging to your eyes, because usually they don't have the necessary protection to filter out all of the UV light, and even though it may look darker, the UV light can go into your eyes and it can actually cause some long-term damage. And you want to make sure that you find glasses that fit your face and your personal style. So for that, there are some online tools, but in the end, I would definitely recommend to go to a local store and try out as many sunglasses as you can to figure out which one is the right one for you. So those were the 10 most essential accessories in my opinion. Of course, there are many other accessories that I could have mentioned. For example, tie bars or cufflinks, or also something like this, which is basically a keychain wallet. And the benefit of this is that you don't have the keys in your pocket, basically scratching up the lining of your pants and maybe at some point causing a hole in there. But in the end, I don't think those are the most essential accessories, and that's why I limited the list to the 10 that I mentioned in this video. But if there's anything that you think I forgot, let me know in the comments below. And if you also want to learn about a couple of tools that you need in order to maintain your wardrobe, then click on this video right here.